Let's get the vibe right. Welcome to the show. Bison Spotlight. Chip and B Smooth, bringing heat to your ears. He washing the mix, facing down all fears. From the court to the crowd where the legends are born. Howard University, we're breaking the norm. Bison Nation stands strong through thick and thin. Basketball vibes, it's more than a win. Every dribble, every shot, it's a story to tell. Ray of excellence, we ringing the bell. Chip Washington's the name, self-proclaimed fanatic. In the heart of the game, his passion's emphatic. Come on, let's ride with the Bison crew. Passion and pride in everything we do. Hoops and dreams, we're reaching for the stars. Bison Brothers Podcast is who we are. Come on, let's ride with the Bison crew. Passion and pride in everything we do. Hoops and dreams, we're reaching for the stars. Bison Brothers Podcast is who we are.
Welcome to the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast, your number one home for all things Bison basketball. My name is Chip Washington, your self-professed Bison basketball fanatic.
What's up, Bison family? What's up, fellas? It's your boy B Smooth, still the lover of all things Howard and the lover of all things basketball. Welcome to the show.
What's up? This is E-Wash, man. Just glad to be here, man. Just thankful for all the things going on. Great holiday sports, 3-4 days even.
Yeah, it's been a good week for us here, man. We mentioned it before. I know you were traveling last time we had to drop our last episode. So if you're listening in and checking on us, E-Wash was still traveling back from his trip to Cameron Indoor Stadium at Duke University, one of the special basketball places in all of the world. And so I know a little bit later in our show, we'll be tapping in on what's good for basketball. We can't wait to hear some of your reflections, E. Welcome back, brother. Welcome back.
Appreciate that. I appreciate
that. So before we jump in, you know how it goes. We're going to have some recaps. This was a bit of a shorter week. It's a holiday week, but we had, a couple of games for our ladies and our men. So we come back from break here. We'll have some recaps and highlights from both programs. I'll say highlights loosely, right? And we will also get some over and under reactions. We're starting to get through the thick of our non-conference schedule. So either we're figuring some things out or we're still trying to figure some things out. So that should be a good debate as we get to that part of the program. As I alluded to, we will have what's good for basketball from the one and only E-Wash. He's the only one that can pull it together the way he does. So we're looking forward to that. And then we'll do a little bit of look ahead. This week still has some historic properties to it. We want to talk about it a little bit. So we're going to definitely get everybody excited about what's coming up with Howard University basketball men and women programs. But before we jump in to it, Chip, let's remind people why we do what we do.
Bison Nation and keeps rolling. We do this because we want Bison Nation to support these championship teams, support them in so many ways. You can do that financially by going to the team's name, image, and likeness collective. It's called the MEAC Society. You could do that by going to the MEACsociety.org. You can also donate through the Bison Express Booster Club at hubison.com, and you can donate through fanstake.com using the code MECA25. And as always, continue to go to the games. We hear it from the players and the coaches over and over. They love seeing the herd, Bison Nation, in the stands. So if you're looking at the schedule, you see Fairfield or in the Burr on Friday, December 5th, circle that on your calendar. Get in the Burr. Make it happen. Support these teams by butts and seats. And as always, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you and ask you to continue to tell everybody about this podcast. Bison Nation, this is your podcast, the number one home for Bison basketball. You can hear us just about anywhere, on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, and you can follow us on Instagram at Bison Brothers Basketball. So we're here for you, Bison Nation, to get the herd riled up, ready to support these championship teams as we go through the highs and the lows and the ebbs and the flows. Oh, I got bars.
You got bars. He's got bars.
Oh, wow.
This season.
We're in
but
the
that's
basement,
why we
I
do
guess, huh? All we need is big ticket.
All you need. Shout out to BET when it was black. I love it. Yeah, Chip, you always get me excited about it, bro. This is our time. Second season in, having fun. Definitely trying to tell the stories that need to be told. And so, fellas, before we get to the recaps and insights, just wanted to check in. As Chip mentioned, we do have a pretty big game coming up on Friday. Also, want you to know that we're going to drop the first part of the interview we had with Coach Ty Grace during homecoming. That'll be dropping on Friday as well. So it's a big day for us. If I could talk these guys into it, maybe we'll do something live on Friday. I just don't know. I don't know. We still like to record everything and test it before it goes out, but we may hit the live button and see what happens. But Friday's a big day for us. It's December 5th. As always, you can catch our episodes every Tuesday. We drop them every Tuesday on all platforms, as Chip mentioned. Thanks for the support so far. Everybody's been really enjoying them, loving the feedback. The fans are really picking up. And I don't know, anything else on your heart before we jump into our recaps and insights?
Yes, it is. And that is, if you're listening right now, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It means a lot. Let Bison Nation know that you're here. So that's all. That's all I want to say.
You had some fire on that on your solicitation there. I was impressed, man. That's too.
Hey, all the support. It means the world.
It means the world. It means the world. It means the world. I appreciate that.
I almost reached for Cash App just an important.
And this is what we call teasing that out there. So Chip, keep talking until he gets that wallet out. Otherwise, we'll have to. Venmo me.
Since he's talking about money, I got the Becca Society link scrolling across the bottom for the women. So indeed.
Yeah, the support is picking up. The season is picking up. We've talked about it before. Our season is broken up into 3 distinct parts. We have our non-conference schedule. We have the conference schedule right after the new year, and then we have the tournament. And like many tournaments, it's the one that allows us the direct access to the March Madness field of 68 teams each year. And so we're trying to break it down, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we learn a lot in the first part of the season that helps us get excited about how we pair up and match up with our conference foes in the middle part of the season. And of course, we're going to be racing with you all the way to March and seeing how far we have to travel to see where our teams are going to go. Championship aspirations every year, because we're a championship culture here at Howard University. So,
hey, be smooth. I might need a little of that editing magic for a second.
That what magic? I'm sorry.
The editing magic.
Yeah. What's that? What you need?
You know how you can make me disappear, reappear.
Like you need that? You need to go right now? You mean let you go right now?
Yeah, I need to go.
Okay. All right. Let me get him out of here then. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah. So keep an eye on him. We'll go ahead and go to the next part of the show here. Just want to make sure he's giving me some extra work to edit today, so I appreciate that. Let's after the break, we're going to come back with recaps and insights. Yeah. Welcome back to Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. I'm your boy B Smooth, still the lover of all things Howard and lover of all things basketball. I'm here with Chip Washington, your number one fanatic and the host of the number one podcast for Howard University basketball. Chip Washington in the building. E-Wash is somewhere in the back in the green room, probably getting a snack or two. We'll see him in a little bit, but we're at the point in our show where we start to cover recaps and insights. We had 4 games total since the last time we got together. This time up, we're going to start with our Lady Bison. They played a pretty tough stretch of road games over the last 4 or 5 days during the holiday week. We'll start with Purdue and work our way to Syracuse that they wrapped up the trip with. So I have something to say here, Chip, but I want to make sure you set me up for it because I see some things that are troubling for me, not to the point of over or under reaction, but things that I'm looking for in the first part of the season that until they gel, I won't know what kind of team we're going to have going into conference play. So for me, I'm excited. I'm checking in. I got some coming in my ear. Hold on. I think that's E. Is E ready to come back to the stage?
It sounds like he's ready.
Let's get him back in here. Okay, we got E back here. Hey, welcome back to the show, E.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that interruption, but you don't have to tell everybody what you were doing. You don't have to tell everybody what you're doing. I have to tell you this. We have a unexpected guest. An unexpected guest. Come on.
Oh wow!
Come on, real quick.
Oh, hey.
Hurry.
Okay.
We got this is a sort of a Bison brother. This is Solomon Washington. He's at Tuskegee, but he happened to have on a Howard shirt. So I figured, how appropriate would it be for him to just stick his head in here real quick before he gets on the road?
Solomon, it's good to see you. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Your boy Eric is always trying to figure out how to stretch the limits of what Howard means.
There's a Howard connection, though. There's a Howard connection.
Anybody wearing Howard gear can get on the show. Is that you're telling me? Let's work on his contract, Chip. We got to work on his contract, bro. Solomon, man, appreciate you being on, man. Be safe on the road, bro. Be safe on the road.
All right.
Be well. That's it, man. Real time, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I can edit most of this out of the show, but if I don't, just know that it's all family here. It's all family.
Yes.
Bison Brothers Basketball. If you take it apart, you can pretty much get anybody on the show. I love this part. It's my favorite part. So as we get back on task here, we are starting with our ladies. Okay. The ladies had two really tough road games. Going into the week, I think we had some aspirations for the team, given that they had started off 5-0, got to 6-1, 6-2. And I know we wanted to see how they would compare against some of the bigger power conference teams. And so, before the holiday started for us here, we had a trip to West Lafayette, Indiana. Shout out to the Hoosier State. Boilermakers hosted us for a quick meeting before the holiday. From the tip, it didn't seem like they were going to lollygag or let some upstart team from DC have their way with them. And so, Chip, let's get started with it because there were some things we learned during the game that I want to make sure we can get to. But let's set it up. What do we see? And let's talk about it, man.
As the king of hyperbole,
yes,
I would say from the tip, we actually did okay for the first maybe 2.5 minutes. We caused 3 turnovers.
Yeah,
I was talking with other fans. I was like, "Oh, we out here looking like the '85 Bears on defense. We locking them down. We locking them down." And then the next 30, 40 minutes passed, and we weren't looking like the 85 Bears. I think for me, the biggest thing, and we talked about it during the game, was just the rebounding. I mean, it was atrocious. We got out rebounded 50-20. Mm-hmm. And Purdue was shooting the lights out. I think our transition D early on was absolutely atrocious as well. And so, you take those things and it just, the second quarter, it just snowballed. And like I said, really after about 5 minutes, just getting outworked, out hustled. I'm not sure. I don't know if they listened to me when I said somebody you show me where the losses were, and they were like, "Yeah,
they're right here."
That was gonna be my next question.
They're right here.
Chip said we wasn't gonna lose, so we don't have to hustle. So I guess Purdue was like, "Yeah, I'll show you where the L is." And
that was certainly gonna be my question. What was the swag like when they walked out?
Oh. Yeah, hey,
that's
like
funny.
I said, if you stopped at the first 3 minutes we were looking, even the announcers were like, oh, the defense, look at, they're causing all these turnovers. I think we jumped out to like a 7-2 lead, looking like giant killers. And to E. Washington's point, as he always says, we looked like we belonged on the court and we were gonna, handle business. But it's the reason why there's 4 quarters.
4 quarters and a halftime.
Yeah. So that, like I said, getting out rebounded, out hustled in transition defense, and then the shooting was abysmal. And yeah, that was my recap in a nutshell.
That's tough. So you're the positive recap. So I gotta go behind that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was tough.
Well, I didn't see this game. Did you see this game, D?
I did. I watched it in its entirety. I took a little time off this week, spent some time with the family, got to hug the kids, and spent some time with my father-in-law, just spending time here. And we all watched the game. I think their reaction to the game was pretty interesting, because for us, we talk about basketball all the time, Howard basketball all the time. So whenever somebody stops to watch a game, I used to feel like I had to apologize when we didn't play well. Mm-hmm. But this time around, they were like, wow, I mean, they're playing Purdue, right? And so to Chip's point, it was tough to watch because we know they play better. And we did do a quick live show right after this one, so I don't have as much on my heart as I did right after the game, but I still believe we got out hustled. There was nothing around talent. Purdue they had size. They didn't have talent that was better than ours. They didn't have skill that was better than ours. They didn't even have, coaching strategy that was better than ours. They just capitalized on the mistakes we made and the lack of shooting. The stat that jumped out to me, Chip, outside of the rebounding, which I expected when I saw how big they were and how they moved, was really they made 11 3-pointers. 11. And we made none.
Ooh.
And in this game, I know we talk about going inside before we go outside and all that. If somebody makes 11 3-pointers on you, you don't make any.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know. And so the part that scares me for the team right now, and I use scared loosely because I don't scare easily, but when I see long stretches where we don't score, no matter how much defense we play, I get nervous because I can't tell if we can turn on offense when we need to. Purdue scored 31 points in the second quarter. And to date, I don't, other than when we played FAMU, I haven't seen us score more than 22 in a quarter. So when we have to put on offense the way we are, we can't put it all on Zaniah Thomas. We can't put it all on Zoe Stewart. They had double-digit scoring, but we need scoring in bunches from everybody. And until I see us, tap into that, we got what we got. We played a good third period. That was our best quarter. So we settled down. We started playing, but they scored one more point than we did. So they kept the lead and never relinquished it. But I did see us start to score. It's just once we get down by a lot, I have to see what it takes for us to get our offense to turn on. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen it yet. We're playing the competition that's supposed to help us understand how to turn it on. So Purdue is a wake-up call more than anything else. And the good news is we don't face that kind of size in the conference play for the most part, but we do need to face it if we're going to play past, hopefully, the first round of the tournament. We're going to go against teams that are big and fast like Purdue. So this was probably the best, for me, it was the best matchup for, if our aspirations are to make it to March Madness, we would face a team like Purdue. So learning from what we can now helps us build the habits in so that we can go after that. So, but yeah, Purdue, they came out and outworked us and said, not on our watch, not on our court. They're from Indiana, so they represented the state very well.
And for what it's worth, we didn't tell everybody the score was 92-62. Yes. That was the final.
92-62. Shout out to again to your point, 92-62. Our ladies did show up. Niall and Zaniah both had 12 points apiece. Zoe Stewart, which she grew up a little bit a ways from there in Terre Haute, Indiana, had 16. She did show out for the home team there. So we did see some points there. I I want to ask a question. It's a sensitive subject, so if you both don't want to answer it now, it's okay.
Okay.
I am trying to figure out where do you all see Ariella in her development as our point guard so far? Because I watched the highlight tapes. She all sent me a bunch of them when she signed, and I know that she was a star in high school, but it's a transition to college. She went from high school to D1, so I'm still trying to get a feel for where she is in her development, because I don't need her to be an all-star right now, but I do need to see how she's building her ability to play at this level as we get into conference play. So what do you guys think? If you don't want to answer now, that's okay.
No, I feel like before I answer, I need to make sure, since it's the Thanksgiving holiday time, you really can't get away from football. So I just need to make sure that this is not some residual Chicago Bears hate before you answer this question. That's all.
No, I still have the usual amount of hate I have for Chicago Bears football. It's not special for the holiday, so bear down and carry on. Bear down and carry on.
So I would say that maybe she, because she's so successful scoring in high school, maybe it doesn't quite translate that her role is a little different, and that's just speculation. That's speculation.
I would. Yeah, I see, and I kind of double into, even with the men, I see kind of the same issues that she's having, kind of, like leveling up to D1, as I see Isaiah Brown having on the men's team. Both extremely gifted point guards, but now they're at the next level. And I think they're just trying to kind of figure it out. So, Ariella in spurts can get some things done, but it just looks like she's at the stage where she's like, okay, I need to kind of figure out what can I do on this level with the skills that I have. So,
well, since she's from Chicago, I need to know from you, Chip, do you think she's more Maurice Cheeks or D Rose?
It's too early to tell now, because of where, what we're seeing so far. I think we got to see, few more games on tape against this level of competition to kind of see where it shakes out. So,
and if we're gonna go penultimate Chicago point guards, you really got to go Isaiah. But I just figured she was at either of those poles. Then,
Really. Yeah. So if you're listening into the show and you happen to follow Chicago point guards, and we're talking about Ariella Hennington out of Kenwood Academy. She's a Chicago legend. She's still making a transition to D1 basketball, and we're trying to see if she's going to be, what were the three choices? It was D Rose, Isaiah Thomas, or
Maurice Cheeks.
Mo Cheeks, right? All right. So if you're listening to the show and you happen to be perusing and you get to the comments, drop your thoughts. We want to know what you're thinking. Ewash likes to make us think hard about who people can become. And I asked that question not out of any type of hate for Chicago Bears football. It's only because, to Chip's point, when I look at her stat line, I'm still trying to figure out, is she going to be the one that sets up everybody to score, or is she going to be the scorer? And so I know that's something that's part of the identity formation that we go through in the non-conference schedule. So I do think it's too early. That's why I want to ask the question. If it's unfair.
No. I think you're on point, actually. No pun intended.
Hey, the pun was intended and it worked well. I like that. All right. So I do want to keep us moving here, because again, 30-point loss, you usually just say, throw that one away. Let's not worry about it. I do say that, the big takeaway I had was that we got outworked and we didn't shoot well. And unfortunately, basketball is set up where you have to make more shots than the other team. So if you can play, you got to play to win and do that. So we did, take a quick break, and then we got on the road and headed up to balmy Syracuse, where they had just a foot or plus of snow when they arrived yesterday for the game. And today they got a chance to take on the Syracuse Orange. Both teams are doing really well from a record perspective. So This was, again, to Chip's point, we're playing against high level competition. That's, we're at 6-3 right now. They're 6-1, which means that, we're playing the level of competition that makes sense. In the interview, you'll see with Ty Grace that we're going to drop the first part on Friday. She talks about her philosophy of trying to take on as much competition early in the season. So it's enough to build a character, but to not tear down our confidence so that we can know how we're going to shape ourselves as a team. So looking forward to her explaining that. But as I was able to catch the game today, which again, the Orange took care of business at home. Final score is 78-62. I'll let Chip and Ewash break it down kind of quarter by quarter, but the overall was cool because I didn't understand it until today. From a historic perspective, this is part of a 10-year deal between Syracuse and the MEAC to actually make sure they play HBCU teams on the calendar every season to bring more exposure to HBCU teams. I thought that was an excellent play. It was a visionary moment for their AD at Syracuse, and said we're going to do our part to raise the profile of HBCU athletics. So I kind of perked up when I realized this wasn't a money game, a money grab for a team to say, let's just beat up on a team that's maybe doesn't have all the resources we have, but let's do the opposite. Let's make sure that we are highlighting the competition. And I did catch coach from Syracuse as they're going to halftime saying, don't sleep. Howard's a great team. We can't fall asleep. We can't fall asleep. So that respect was what I took away from at least the initial thoughts of the game. But Chip, tell me what you all saw. What do we get from this game against Syracuse Orange today?
You want to go first, Chip?
I'll go first. So I was frustrated. I'll tell you why. Because I felt like we were on pretty much the same level as Syracuse, but some of the turnovers that we had, I wish I could show some tape. And Coach Grace, she even mentioned it coming out of halftime. I had to see at least 5 kind of lazy passes in the half court offense. Like, okay, I'm gonna throw it to you, but I'm just gonna throw it real lightly. And it wasn't even a hard jump in the passing lane to get the ball. And boom, they off and running, converting off of our turnovers. So that, alone. So where I saw where we differed from Purdue is we at least cleaned up the rebounding disparity. So, I like the way that they played harder, but it's hard when you have these just untimely and uncharacteristic turnovers. Like I said, Coach Grace said, coming out of the halftime, like, my players need to come to the ball when you're trying to pass. And the one time that I saw, I think it was April, was passing to Niall Miller in the second half, and maybe it was the third quarter. And it was still kind of a lazy pass, but Niall ran to it, grabbed it, got fouled, and there you go. But I was just like, now I know she told everybody, come to but like, why are we still trying these passes? But so that's what had me frustrated, because I was like, if we hadn't had those types of turnovers outside of the trend of not shooting well, which we're going to have to address, because that is definitely a thing. But the turnovers we had, like I said, that can be cleaned up. But yeah, everybody, when you're playing high level competition, you can't just assume that they're going to lay down and not try to get the ball when you're passing it in the half court. So like I said, I was frustrated at those turnovers, but I did like that we fought a little harder to stay in this game. So
I agree. E, what you think?
Well, as I'm listening to that, man, like I said, it was such a sports-filled 3 or 4 days, because, Chip knows this, and I'm shout out Alabama State and Tuskegee, because I went to a football game, what was that, Thursday, right? And, kind of going into the game, hopefully my son don't be mad at me saying this, but, Alabama State is a Division I school. Tuskegee is a Division II school, and it was kind of close up until they started having some turnovers, and then next thing you know, that disparity kind of reared its ugly head. And so as Chip and I were talking about the game, and then unfortunately, my ESPN stream went out, so I just went straight to the game cast and made me feel like I was listening to a game on the radio as opposed to actually watching it. But it also gave me the opportunity to kind of watch the box score change in real time, right?
Yeah.
And as Chip and I were talking, we were like, well, dang, the rebounding is almost the same. The assists were the same. The turnovers were about the same. But man, when you looked at that shooting percentage, to your point, B, they just were not able to score when they needed to keep it from becoming an insurmountable type of situation. And so, yeah, we could talk about, and it's a good thing to talk about, because I was also thinking about this, to be talking about a ranked Howard team, a nationally ranked Howard team. And then I was looking at since you brought that up, B, that made me think of this too. I was looking at the ACC rankings, and then I looked at the women's rankings, right? And Syracuse is, I think they were like, I know they were behind Louisville. They were behind UNC, and they're not ranked. And they only lost one game so far. So, I don't, it's sort of and we'll definitely talk about this when we get to the men's game, because as I was listening to the announcers, they kept talking about the history of Howard playing the Mount. And regardless of what the records were on either side, games were always close, this and that. I guess all I'm trying to say is, since we've never played Syracuse, I wasn't sure what to expect, but then I sort of started thinking about that, like, well, hey, man, if they're not ranked, this might not be the appropriate time to segue back in this bag of, yeah, man, we supposed maybe they ain't on our level,
The good news is Chip keeps us in that bag. So he believes that we are never going to lose to anyone. So the bag is really close by. If we're not in it, we're around it.
That's true.
In close proximity.
So maybe I'm just drinking that Kool-Aid still, but I almost found myself being disappointed.
Disappointed, frustrated, and disappointed is what I got.
Yeah, like, dang, man.
Frustrated and disappointed. Yeah, that's good. I feel it. And I think the frustration and disappointment comes from the fact that I think I felt incomplete. Right. Okay. So just to give the one word. So, I mentioned it before. Like I said, for those listening in, we're in recaps and insights talking about our ladies' last two games. Really, really tough tests for us. In previous seasons, we'd have been, let's just get through these games and get on to the conference play, because either we're making a little bit of money or we'll get a chance to, let people run a little bit. But I say incomplete, not frustrated, but incomplete, because what I saw in the stat line, as I could see with my own eyes, was that when we don't shoot well and we don't out rebound people, we shouldn't expect to win, right? Right. And I think that's my challenge now, is that if I'm not playing my game or even close to my game, then it's luck if we win, right? And we don't want luck to be there. I mean, we need luck a little bit. You need a ball to bounce your way when you're trying to get into the tournament, maybe. But this time of year, we want to know, how do we get to our identity? We play defense. We rebound, right? We hustle. And Chip, your point about frustration is, it felt like when we weren't scoring, we weren't playing the same level of energy everywhere else. And so when we weren't scoring or we were turning the ball over, you could see the body language where we weren't hustling back. We weren't making up for the mistakes. We were just literally just floating out there. And I think part of that is we haven't played a complete game yet. So we don't know what it feels like. We know we have one in there. And we don't know if that's the lucky part coming out, or that's going to emerge just how we progress. When I look at the stat sheet, I'm encouraged by the fact that Z Payne, Zanaya Thomas, continues to be excellent, right? She's playing her game. I think I'm seeing the emergence of Zoe Stewart starting to figure out her identity, where she can contribute as well. I'm still, circling questions on not only Ariella, but our point guard play. I've not seen anybody with the assists to let me know they're intentionally trying to set people up to score. And we have the talent. If you give them the ball in the right spots, we should be able to score. I see people still trying to create shots off the dribble, and that's not our game, at least not yet.
Right.
I hope that's not our game where we just go out to the court and say, whoever wants to score, let's see what happens. But I don't see anybody who's directing the offense just yet where we know people are getting to their spots. And what I love about it is that when we play against teams that are just, what did you say, Chip? I like the way you said it. They hustle a little bit more. They play a little bit harder. They don't let their guard down. They don't play down to the competition, even if it says they should, right? I can tell you right now, after watching practices with the ladies, they're not running with that same level of energy all the time. My hope is that they take away, we got to play at least this hard in practice to go ahead and get out of the habit of just tossing the ball lazily across the court. You know, stuff that can happen in practice. You can't, this is why you play the non-conference schedule. So incomplete is what I feel. And I think this road trip gave me more questions than answers. I see some people emerging, but I also know that, to your point, I was expecting us to play our game and then let it happen. Like if we lost by 1 or 2 or 3 and they outplayed us, that's different than we gave away points. Like when I see the final score and realize that we gave away 16, 17 points. And the same trend, Chip, we go in at halftime and we play our best offensive quarter in the third quarter, which we figure something out midway through the game. It doesn't sustain or we're too far behind to catch up, but we find our offense sometime late in the game. And that's going to be very frustrating for me as we get into the rest of the non-conference schedule, because I don't think any team we're facing is going to give us the allowance of letting us get ourselves together before we decide to play offense. So incomplete, frustrated, disappointed, incomplete. That's probably the way to summarize our ladies' last 2 games.
Well, I got 2 more words though.
Really?
Paradigm shift. Because what I think is happening, and it's in all directions. The fact that Syracuse is scheduling us, right? The fact that we, as people covering it, are starting to have a different expectation even than last season, and legitimately so, right? The fact that they're right. I mean, we still talk about a ranked team until the rankings come out again, I guess, whatever, but who knows? I'm just saying that, it is, there's an internal scorecard and an external scorecard. And I think that there's a place for both of those things to be emphasized that can spark some improvement based on that paradigm shift.
I get that. Paradigm shift is a nice way to summarize it. I do think our expectations, and I'm glad you did that. Maybe we should also let people know that, that's probably why we started the podcast, is that we had to have a paradigm shift to even want to talk about it, to your point. And so it's not that we're lunatics on the show. We're fanatics, not lunatics. Right?
Well,
there's a fine line. There's a fine line. So
yes, it is.
I'll let you decide which one is which as you listen to the show. But for fanatics, our expectations are higher because we know that our team is capable of playing at a high level. And when they don't, we get the words disappointed and incomplete and frustrated. Like if we were just happy to be here, we'd have totally different words. Like, wow, I didn't even think we were going to play them. Right? Wow, they invited us. Oh, that's so nice of them. No, I mean we don't duck the smoke, as we'll hear from Ty Grace in our interview with her. She doesn't duck it. She's like, look, if we want to play against the best, we got to play the best. And we got to play whoever's willing to play us. And we know the only thing we have to worry about is when we start winning these games that maybe we weren't expecting to win before, kind of like when we started out the season. We have to know who's going to still sign us up to play, because when you're pretty good, people don't want to play you early in the season, especially the power conferences, because they benefit from being in the power conference as opposed to, they don't have to be ranked, but if they're in a power conference, it's like their boat rises with the tide, because if they're in a conference with good teams, they're going to be considered good because they're in the same conference with a bunch of good teams.
And to kind of tease that interview again, Coach Grace was very prescient in pretty much everything she said about what was going to happen and why she had the expectations she had.
That's right. That's right. That's
See
right.
it
We're
coming.
building.
Yeah.
We're building. I love it. All right, man. So let's get to the fellas because, like I said, the ladies, they left us frustrated, disappointed, and incomplete, which means the story is still being written. And the exciting part is they get home, they get a chance to take some finals, and they'll get back at it on Friday. We'll talk about that later in the show because there's some special stuff going on this Friday. But good road trip from a learning perspective. So let's switch gears. Our guys had a similar, set of games. They had a game on right before the holiday against St. Mary's.
Mm-hmm.
St. Mary's College.
And then they played Mount St. Mary's on Saturday, which threw me off because I was trying to figure out the names and differences and where they were located. But let's get into that because the game against St. Mary's was a feel-good game, a get-right game, I like to call it, where coming off the game against the games against Niagara and Duke at Cameron, we definitely needed to have a game where we could just come in and play and know that we could play from beginning to end without, see what could we translate to all that we learned in the last couple of games into playing against, maybe not D1 competition. Can I do it that way? Can I say it that way? No disrespect to St. Mary's. And so, Chip, I was excited because I think this is one where we may actually have some highlights to share with folks who like to look at it. But, we absolutely enjoyed the ability to, have our guys come out and actually have a good time playing. And, one of the things we absolutely enjoyed was the ability for us to, see all the folks play. They were eligible to play. We saw a lot of our freshmen play, first year guys play in Duke game after we were down by a lot. But to come right out and have all of our teammates play in the game against St. Mary's was heartwarming. It was a nice way to start my holiday to see us go up and never relinquish the lead, never were, in question. So let's talk about it a little bit. This is the fun one. This is the one that, if we did the show based on wins, we'd only do this one. This update.
So I would say, since we're fans and, we have giraffe-like memories, knowing that we lost to some D2 teams last year, I didn't go into this. I was like, okay, let's see what happens. So at least from a transition from last year to this year, it was good to see. And, I always forget to tell everybody the score was 115 to 61.
Yeah.
Howard prevailed over St. Mary's College. So
that's right.
It was good to see that we didn't play with our food and we took care of business against this D2 team.
No, that's
115, 61. That's right.
That's insulting.
No. It's cliche in terms of we went up 63 to 37 after the first half, and so you could tend to be like, oh, we're up so big in the first half that we won't play hard. But in the second half, we outscored them 52 to 24. So to me, that's the prototypical cliche. You didn't play with your food.
He said
you had a team. You had a team that you were supposed to beat, and you took care of business.
So before we get to EWASH, I just want to recognize that, for our listeners and our watchers of the show, this is Bison Brothers Basketball because there's actual brothers on the show. EWASH and Chip are related by blood. And my understanding in looking through their history books, they come from a long line of gaslighters. And so I'm glad to see EWASH is carried on the family tradition of just trying to gaslight. The simplest of terms, he's turned it into this bulletin board material after the game. That we don't play St. Mary's anymore. If it motivates them to win D2, D3, whatever they are, like if it motivates them to win, so be it. We'll never have to face them again until next year sometime. So he's gaslighting right now. So Chip, I appreciate you staying calm. I'm just letting everybody know that this is a family tradition. This is what makes the show hot like fire at times because you're like, wow, I just was talking and now I'm on the fence.
If you call somebody food,
see, just take it out of context like that. It wasn't calling them food. It was the game itself. We were talking about our players. We've seen them take their foot off the gas, and all of a sudden it's a tight game because the team just never stopped fighting. And the way the shooting was happening, we had to keep playing because they had guards that were actually trying to win the game. I love that that we had. We only had one player on St. Mary's that worried me a little bit to play most of the game. James Cramato. He put up 17, but that's because he never quit. And so, we do have the tendency to play with our food when we think we won. I said it. At me, bro. At me. If that bothers you, at me. But the idea is that for us, when we look at it from the Howard perspective, there was a lot we could have done coming out of the Duke game. We could have had a letdown. We could have said, let's just look past, St. Mary's to Mount St. Mary's and try to get ready for that and just kind of play it like it's not something we should be serious about. But I was excited. I think what I learned in the game was that I can start to believe in K Vicious. Dennis had some of his best output so far of the season. I've been a little hard on him. So those who listen to the show know that I don't pull punches with our own team. To have a big man that doesn't play big is a frustration for me, right? But we still see Bryce Harris. He's still a perennial all MEAC, all American, and really just plays it against any competition that stands in front of him. He's going to play. I love seeing Alex Cotton out of North Texas starting to show up on the score sheet, and Ose. Okoji, he couldn't score when he first got to Howard. So the fact that he's gotten a little bit bigger in the gym, he's taking people to the rim on a regular basis, and he's scoring now. I'm starting to see 3, 4, 5, rotation per teammate rotation that is going to be formidable as we get into conference play. So I did learn a lot. Even though the tendency would be to turn away after we were up by, we cracked the 100 mark. I was like, I should probably turn away, but I couldn't do it. You didn't get to see this game, is that right? You didn't get to see this?
Yeah, I didn't get to see this one. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you missed a good one, bro. I just know that for me, I needed to see us play from beginning to end and see all the people play. I still think there's, I'm excited for when Cedric Taylor gets back on the court here in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. Once we get to see him, then I'll know how the identity starts to shake out for us in terms of going into conference play. But yeah, it was good to get a team that let us kind of take everything we had felt and experienced from Duke and turn it back around and say, let's do that to someone else.
Well, hey, since Eric didn't get to see it, we'll show him a few highlights. From the game.
Okay, let's do it, bro.
Yeah, this is from the men's team. Let's see what we got here. Bryce doing Bryce things.
Grown man. Hey, Vicious.
Alex
Cotton from the outside.
And he's certainly, man, when I hear these announcers,
Right. I said those pinstripes are still nice, bro.
Boom.
K Vicious.
Big man, K Vicious.
Yeah. I see you, Chip.
Ooh, Triple Bryson.
Yeah.
Nice. Shout out to the content crew for the men's basketball team, the Dream Factory crew. Appreciate those highlights, and I want to shout them out all the time. They're trying to tell the stories from the baseline, and so it's good to see those shots coming together. But yeah, it was a highlight fest. When they put together the highlight reel from the season, I'm expecting there to be a lot of clips from that game to make the final cut because everybody tended to play better. But again, that was before the holiday, so the goal was to get through and kind of get right from the weekend at Cameron Indoor, so that we can make our way just a little bit further north, on 270 for those in the DMV. That's still far from me because when I lived there, DMV was far. When you got on 270, you knew you were going somewhere. But apparently, we just went up the street to play Mount St. Mary, to your point a little bit earlier, E. This is a team we play annually, and no matter what the records are, it tends to come down to a last shot, maybe an overtime, and even sometimes a double overtime. And we've had some interesting outcomes with the team that we match up with pretty well. I mean, their talent is about the same as ours, which means that the records don't matter. When we play each other, it's a really good matchup for us. And so we did go up and had aspirations of keeping the winning streak going.
Mhm.
However, Mount St. Mary's had other plans.
Right.
So we did have a final score there, 79-75. We actually came up a little bit short. We had a chance to win. I think that's the way I'll set this up. Is it wasn't that we didn't have the lead long. I think the commentators were trying to tell us that it was less than a few seconds that we ever had the lead during the game because we were chasing. And there's a tendency I'm going to talk about in a minute when we get into the insights here. But the fact that we had a chance to win, given how we started and how we played most of the game, I'm starting to learn. I'm starting to learn about our team as far as our grit and our ability to remain resilient, even when we dig pretty big holes and have to dig out of them each game. So 79-75, Mount St. Mary's shot really well. They had a big man that I can't remember his name right now, but they basically, anytime they needed a bucket, they put it down low, and my man turned around and just he was a grown man.
I think it was my man Luke McElden, I believe.
Yes, Luke McElden. He absolutely every time they needed a significant bucket to maintain the lead or to extend the lead, they knew exactly where to go.
Even more than our mid guy, you think?
In terms of scoring,
I would say, at least back to to your point, you watched the whole, going inside out, like, whenever they needed to establish that, it was like throw it in to McElden. All the action revolved around that.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Matter of fact,
because everybody bought them.
I would piggyback on B Smooth's point that there were some times when because I think Howard, one of the things I see consistently from them is some pretty good ability to pass on the interior, right? And I was looking for K Vicious. That's what y'all call him. I was looking for him when he got the ball below the free throw line to try to get a closer shot, and he seemed to more consistently opt for going the other direction a little bit. Not to be overly critical, but I think to your point, if we're going to look for some inside scoring, he needs to change his mindset a little bit in terms of, when he's looking to score, you can, because it seemed like he has the size and the ability to do it, just got to have that mindset, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he's a freshman.
Yeah.
And so he mentioned that on, maybe it was after the St. Mary's game, like, hey, I'm learning and, I'm trying to learn. So he's, the MEAC is coming. So the learning don't stop.
It doesn't. It doesn't. And you may have to reach up to the higher shelf to learn what you got to do in the MEAC, because he won't have a lot of freshmen he'll be playing against. These are grown men, 22, 23, 24-year-old guys they got their man muscles already, so they're going to step into them. And at 6'10", it's either fortunate or unfortunate. Fortunate because at 6'10" he can shoot. And the more he can shoot from outside and bring the big guys out, that clears out room for us to do things down low. But there's got to be times where you can take it to the rim and be like, I'm 6'10". Let me introduce myself. And when he plays like one of the smaller guys on the outside, we appear to be a lot smaller than we are, and we play a lot smaller than we are. So he's a freshman. Chip, you keep me honest there. I'm not always complimentary of the freshman development. I think because we've had such success with transfer students, our freshmen don't always get to see the floor. So the fact that he's getting this type of run is a testament to Coach Kenny Blakeney and his staff, making sure that we maximize all the talent we have and develop all the talent we have. So, it was good to see him step up in this game, even though, I would love for him to play a little bit bigger. Every time they needed a bucket, they knew to go against him.
Yeah.
So his defensive presence has to pick up a little bit. But I will tell you that the big thing I took away from the game was the emergence of Cam Gillis as a true scoring threat and not just a potential distributor.
Say it again, B.
So what you're saying is like a true number two guard scoring threat.
No, that's not what he said.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I just need to remind you of my comments from earlier in the show about being on a program with two generational gaslighters. They find one little word and twist it into something they needed to believe. We don't have that kind of time today, fellas. I'm just letting you know that if there's any part you agree with, you can just say, yeah, that's right. You don't have to try to point that to anything else. What I saw from him was that he wasn't afraid to take it to the basket when he needed to and create some scoring, because when he scores, he can distribute the ball more, because then you don't think he's just out there just to pass the ball around. And that's probably the identity shift that I'm looking for in these next few games is, we think Bryce is the only answer and we put a lot on him. He had an off shooting night. And so when Bryce isn't shooting well, somebody has to step up. And instead of waiting for someone to hopefully emerge, we need the people who are out there on the floor that can create space, create their shots, doing that so that we can then get the defenses to play up on them and create some passing lanes for everybody else. So, again, Cam emerged for me as somebody who can do both. It was fun to watch him get into it. I think playing against talent from the DMV, he tends to step his game up even more. So he's probably played against these guys in AAU and other things growing up. So he wasn't like he was playing against unfamiliar talent. He just knows that, to see him step up a little bit was actually encouraging. So that was my one big takeaway outside of Dan is starting to emerge as somebody I can trust as a player on the court. Did you all have anything else? You highlight your gaslighters. Do you have anything else?
Yeah. So I have a question. Yeah,
please.
I play the Be Smooth role here with the question.
Please.
So Coach Blakeney at the post-game press conference for Duke said, we got to start out faster. We got to start our halves, faster. And yet we did not start fast in this game. What do you think is the cause of these slow starts?
So it's simple for me because I'm seeing it over and over again. We're almost forcing the game to start through Bryce. Like, we want him to get the shots off early and get his touches early, and that level of deference is probably killing us from getting started, because people are waiting to get their shots only after Bryce is starting to cook. And I didn't notice it as much before until this game, where he wasn't making shots that he normally would make right off the gate. And so when we're waiting for him to get going, I think that's part of it, because nobody else is feeling like they should just take the ball and go. That's something we're going to have to break going into conference play, because everybody's going to key in on Bryce if they know that if you stop Bryce, you can stop Howard. We can't have that be the only way to play. So I see that as us trying to get our key guy going early, and that to a fault right now. We need to maybe not start with Bryce, but work him in as soon as we can. You got to get your guys as touches, but the minute they start letting everybody else play a little bit, and we see it when we come out of halftime, it's usually when everybody feels like they're comfortable enough to take shots that are open instead of passing them up. So that's what I'm seeing. But I saw it more because Bryce wasn't on. If he was on, I probably wouldn't have seen it as clearly as I did against the Mount St. Mary's. Did you see anything else there in terms of slow starts?
Not really. I think I could kind of co-sign pretty much what you're saying. I think that I'm sort of thinking about what I can't remember who we were playing last year when Coach KB he changed the whole starting five at halftime, and even the announcers didn't know what to expect.
That might have been Tennessee State. I think when he played Dockery late. Was that the game you're thinking about?
Nah, it was either one of the Florida games or UMBC, one of those games where
I feel like I saw it on television though. I don't think I saw it live.
Okay.
And I think it was a kind of a good opponent. Like it was close, and then he did like all the switcheroo. And I guess I'm bringing that up because, to your point, B, about being able to depend on more than one person. He must have felt comfortable enough to say, hey, if I'm going to sit Dockery or whoever it was, he felt comfortable enough to do that. And I don't know if that's the actual issue, but you know, I don't know.
Well,
I guess I don't really have an answer.
Bison Nation, Bison Nation. If you got comments, that's why I asked it. I was like, I'm gonna start to pay more attention if we continue to have these slow starts to see if I can try to kind of pinpoint why. You know, I listen to what you had to say, Beast Move. So Bison Nation, if you got thoughts on what's causing these slow starts, put it in the comments. Let us know. I know you guys are aficionados out there, so put it in the comments and let us know why you think the men are keep getting off to these slow starts, and we got to battle so hard just to get back in the game. So I'm interested in hearing from you, Bison Nation, on that.
Me too. Yeah, and I will tell you this: as our listeners are deliberating and deciding, you know, what they think it is, I will say, you know, most of the scoring we saw from the rest of the team really didn't pick up until Bryce wasn't on the floor. So if you just keep that in mind, you saw more scoring because somebody had to score. Bryce wasn't on the floor. And so I think we're going to learn something. You know, these next couple of games are going to probably show us a little bit more. I do think when Cedric is back in the lineup, I'm looking for him. How do they introduce him? How does he get his touches? How does that work? So there's still some tumbling, right? Like a safe. We're still tumbling to figure out how the pieces are going to fit together. But I was encouraged because even though we didn't pull out the win, we played and had a chance to win. Like we had a chance to win. And so I think that's to your point earlier, E, my paradigm shift is that I'm no longer looking at non-conference games as just games we have to endure and just try not to get hurt before conference play, right? I want it to be, we should be competing and playing every team we play competitively. And if we play our game, we should be in it. And when I look at the stat sheet for the game, in addition to the scoring, other than the slow start, we actually played a pretty good game because we pulled within a couple at halftime and we pretty much neck and neck in the second half. So other than spotting our teams we play 10 minutes to go ahead and do whatever they want to do, that's the frustrating part that, you know, if we did a full game, I don't know how to act. If we had a full game, would it be more like what it was against St. Mary's where we'd be scoring 100 because we could score that much at any given time? Or, you know, is it going to be, we only want to play 30 minutes, really good basketball, and first 10, we'll just see how it goes, right? That's and that's all part of gelling as a team. So I still see the identity. The identity is very much, you know, we go as Bryce goes right now. And I believe that in most cases, because Bryce is a known entity, anybody who's game planning against us, if they can figure out how to frustrate Bryce and get him in foul trouble, or if they can figure out how to keep him off the block or make it tougher for him to get his shots off, you know, throughout the game, they can dictate our output right now. And I know with the talent we have on the team, there's no way that could be the only answer. We should have people who say, if you're going to go after Bryce, you have to deal with these other two, right? We got to create more options on the floor where, what's the old rap song? You can get with this or you can get with that. The choice is yours, right?
Right.
No doubt.
See what you started, Chip. See what you started. Now he rhyming.
I'm just shouting out. Just shouting out to the 90s hip hop, still the best around, for sure. All right. So anything else, fellas? Because this was a good recap. It was deep. I know we took a little bit longer to get into it because we're at the point in the season where we're supposed to learn who are we, right? And what does that mean for each program? Our ladies are still, they had a couple of setbacks over the last part of their road trip, but they're still have a winning record that puts them very much in the talk of mid-major rankings. Our guys, we're flirting with 500. And this point in the season, it's like we're winning the games we're supposed to, and we're flirting with the games that we need to step up to. And you know, we got to learn. There's a lot of people just now playing D1 level ball, and I have to keep remembering that for our team. Outside of Bryce and Ose, everybody else hasn't really played at a college championship level on the team. So exciting times ahead. So we're at the point now where we want to cover some over and under reactions. When we come back from the break, we'll jump right into it because that's where we take a little bit of information and try to stretch it out to some prognostication that makes sense. We're either going to be geniuses or the opposite of geniuses. All right, welcome back. This is your boy B Smooth. We got E Wash and Chip Washington, better known as the Basketball Brothers of Bison Basketball Podcast, right? So we're all over the bees today. So we are having fun. We just got through with a really riveting recaps and insights. We're jumping into our over and under reactions. Who's kicking us off today? Because I want to make sure we spotlight brothers as they're talking today. Who's going to lead us off with their over and under reactions today?
Okay, well, I'll go first.
All right.
You cannot underreact to being in Cameron Indoor Stadium. I will say that. You can't do it. That was pretty awesome, man. That was pretty awesome. My overreaction, I guess, would be getting down about the non-conference schedule. I'm trying not to become too sullen about it, like, man, the sky is falling and that kind of thing. So I think that would be my, I'm trying not to overreact to that.
Take that. That was deep. That was deep. Trying not to overreact to a few losses here. I like that. Yeah. Chip, you want to go next, man?
Well, I will overreact to
okay. I'm a chill on this one, B.
to a few losses.
Yeah.
For the women, I see this as a learning. Just it's a learning curve. Again, using the whole cliche, we got smacked in the mouth by Syracuse and Purdue, but we're still going to make a run. Not only in the MEAC tournament, I think we're going to look back at this time, and this will be the stepping stone for a nice little run in the tournament for the women. I still think they got the DNA to make it happen. So my overreaction is, even with the 2 losses, it's just learning, and we'll see it play a role come March when we're in the tourney. You'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
And no underreaction?
No underreaction.
No, it's okay.
No underreaction.
It's okay. It's okay. So let me get at it real fast in here. So Bison Nation. I'm not one for a lot of hyperbole because my co-hosts tend to hog it all. Anything I think is hyperbolic, they think is normal because that's how they operate. And so my overreaction is consistent from the very beginning of this show. I'm really worried about our ladies' ability to score points throughout the game. If we continue to have these 4, 5, 10, 12-minute lapses in offense, not only will it make it hard to compete, but I think it has a direct correlation to the effort and the energy we put out on defense and some of the careless mistakes we make when it feels like we're just playing just to be out there. So I know we're a defensive team. I know we're getting our identity based on being able to out rebound and out hustle everybody, but we got to find some offense. Otherwise, it's going to be a very incomplete, frustrating, and disappointing season if we're not able to put points on the board at will.
I see what you did there.
At will. At will. So that's my reaction. I don't have an underreaction. My overreaction is we got to score. You got to put the ball in the bucket. And if you're not doing that at your pace, and I know you like to talk about football, E. I'm going to talk about bowling, right? I don't like to have open frames when I'm bowling. So we can't roll. We can't, when we come down the court, not only do we not want to turn the ball over, we want to score, either get a free throw, layup, shot, but we want our shot. We want good shots to say we want that shot. We don't want to pass it around and hope to get a ball up before the shot clock goes out. So that's an open frame. Whenever we don't score or we turn it over, it's an open frame. So we and the thing is, we have the talent. So if there's only one person that could score, I wouldn't have this conversation. But the fact that I know we got scorers at almost every position.
Yeah.
Almost every position. Yeah. It's an overreaction. We got to get points. And we got to find them before conference play, because if people know that Z Payne is the only one that's going to score regularly, they're going to do whatever they can to keep it out of Z-Pain's hands, and that's not what we want in terms of our time in the MEAC and going after championships. So that's where I am with it, man. I love it. Okay. Any other reactions? This is good. You guys are on point today. I like that, E. I like that. Let me see here. I'm going around. So if not, we'll go right to what's good for basketball. So E. Wash. For those listening in, this is Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. We come to this moment. It's like a special guest type of moment because E tends to bring us connections to basketball and Howard, hopefully. We figure out, how to make sure we always stay connected to what's good for basketball. So if you set us up, man, we'll come back on after you set us up here. So the floor is yours, brother.
All right. Well, first of all, again, since it's Thanksgiving and holiday season, I want to say how much I appreciate being a Bison brother. This really has taken me some places I did not anticipate. And that's good for basketball. Quiet as it's kept. We talked to you. You guys told me that you are, since I missed the last episode, you talked to our Bison Nation about, some of the stories, that I might share. And this is going to be kind of all rolled up into one. But of course, there's going to be some Chicago in there. There's going to be some Mendel High School in there.
Shout out to Mendel.
But it won't involve the Pope.
I think it just did.
Because what happened, and the thing that I love about the show is the immersion in basketball, being a basketball guru. I'll say it that way. I want to shout out my boy Andre King, man. He is a person, that used to cut my hair, and whenever I would go to the barber shop, he's like, Doc, man, when you come in here, we want you to know we are giving you guru status. I said, what does that mean? What does that mean? He's like, when you talking about stuff, you be knowing what you're talking about. Now, that might sound a little self-serving, but that is my segue to what happened today. So today, I went to Publix to go pick up some groceries and stuff. And when I walked in the grocery store, who was there but one of my high school classmates, Ridgely Young. So we go shout out Ridgely Young. And, I had reached out to him, once we were at Duke. And, he's one of the few people I tried to text instantly like, yo, man, can't believe it, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, we got into a little basketball trivia in the grocery store. And because he also went to an HBCU and is an HBCU athlete, he played baseball at Fisk with my older brother, Michael. And he also played football at Fisk, who no longer has a football team, which still kind of gets into kind of the stuff, the reason why we're here. If they had more support, maybe blah, 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 right? So, we got to talking, and I was explaining to him one of my moments that we had in Cameron. And, Chip will show you guys a picture of this later, where we were talking about some of the Duke players. And as we were talking about that, and I was thinking about certain things, I thought to myself, well, wow, how many HBCUs have been in the Final Four, whether it's Division 1, 2, or 3 in basketball? So we were trying to think of all the schools. And, the first one that popped in my mind, shout out to the ladies, was Cheney State.
Cheney State.
Yep. They I forgot who they lost to in the national championship, but they actually made the championship game. I don't remember what year it was, right? And then that's okay.
No,
so that's
Vivian
one.
Stringer. Vivian Stringer.
That's right. Go look at guru. That's a guru comment, B. That's a guru status.
I'm a junior guru. I'm a junior guru.
That's what's up, right? So yeah, so I was like, okay, so Cheney State made it. Then I thought about Big House Gaines, Winston-Salem. Shout out Earl Monroe. You know, he was on that team. They won a national championship. I even, give some shout out to Stephen A. Smith, Winston-Salem graduate, right? I was like, so Winston-Salem did it, right? Then, as we found out last year, we go shout out our transfer student from Morehouse, right? Morehouse has been to the Final Four in basketball. And then I realized I knew it was somebody I was leaving out and I couldn't think of. It was Virginia Union. Virginia Union has actually won a national championship 3 times.
They have.
Yeah. I was like, wow, they won, I think, in 2005, in the 90s. I can't remember when the other year. I think it's when they had Oakley.
So
in
the early 80s, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to shout out Oakley. We're going to shout out, what's my boy, Ben Wallace, led to another Chip Nose guru moment of, can they do something that's repeatable? When we watched them Pistons upset the Lakers, that's an HBCU moment right there because they couldn't have done it without him, And I just kind of thought to myself, being, like you say, being in Cameron Indoor and all of that history and all those kind of things, how awesome it's going to be when Howard makes the Final Four.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because even Dex, shout out to my boy Dex. He's the other guy in the picture when I was holding up the sign and keeping them Cameron crazies off my back. He kind of helped me hold it down, right? He even was impressed with, he was impressed with the level of intensity that Howard was playing with against Duke. Because he played high school ball, so he's legit, man. He had an opportunity because he started out at Harvard Dental School actually to play for them because he still had a year of eligibility, so he could have been a grad, whatever type of thing. I remember talking about that when he went up there, like, why not, man? And so yeah, man, I think that we keep talking about paradigm shifts and all that. I just keep saying to myself, man, and the other thing that he mentioned was he brought up Maker McClure. Dexter did in terms of, kind of what happened to him. And then that led to a conversation between me and him about how, we always give love to the brother, but I'm glad that, and you seeing his consistency that is Coach KB and doing this and making it so, to your point, Be Smooth, that it's not just about one player. It's about the team, and that's good for basketball, no doubt. So, and this kind of makes me think about, one of the best stories to me. And I hope Chip could pull this picture up. We were actually in the stands at Cameron. There you go. All of those gentlemen, we were having a real-time debate about who was the best Duke NBA player, because Carlos Boozer was sitting at one end. We saw Shane Battier across the way. We got to talking about Grant Hill, and we shout him out because he came to the Bird, the Dream Factory. And we certainly want to shout out the coach for bringing all his resources and his energy to bear and in the service of Howard University men's basketball program. It is just, I love those shirts that say, I am my ancestors' wildest dream, right? Kenny Blakeney is that to me for HBCU sports and especially HBCU basketball and more specifically Howard basketball. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten into conversations with people about what is possible if we just look inward instead of always looking outward. Stop like what I was saying earlier about having an internal scorecard instead of an external one. You'd be amazed what you can do. So to see these kind of things happening is just it's just amazing, man, to be honest with you. And I think that all of those things, we sell ourselves short. I don't know who I was having this conversation with, and I wrote it down. It's like, who do you think is the progenitor of the fast break in basketball? Most people, and they wouldn't be completely incorrect, would say Red Auerbach was the person that brought fast break basketball to prominence, of course, and having Bill Russell help do all that. But the person that really did that was John McClendon at Tennessee A&I. Right. And he's also somebody that won a national championship, but because it was NAIA, I don't know if it's the exact same category. It doesn't diminish the accomplishment, but it's certainly, and then if you go off of his coaching tree, you will be pleasantly surprised at the kind of branches that come off of him. So, we just have to stop selling ourselves short, man, and keep dreaming big.
I love that, man.
Good for basketball, man.
That's what good for basketball, bro. We missed this. I appreciate you always being able to bring us something that makes us say, wow, or wow, I didn't know that. And shout out to the Basketball Hall of Fame. If you make your way up to Springfield, Massachusetts, most of the folks mentioned in this segment of What's Good for Basketball have these very cool features on each floor of the Hall of Fame. And so thank you for shouting out us not selling ourselves short. It's probably the big takeaway for me is we do a lot for the game. And we think that because of where we are today, where we're still trying to get resources to compete at the highest levels, now that the game is flipped, we were part of the game before, we'll still be part of the game. And we need to know that no matter what we're doing, we're not trying to chase our role in the game. We're actually just trying to expand it.
That's right.
That's right. I love it. That was awesome, man. Hey, so before we wrap up the show, man, anything we're looking forward to, Chip? I know we had some excitement around what's going on this Friday. For those who are listening to the program, this will drop on Tuesday, December 2nd. So a few days after we drop this episode, the ladies will be facing Fairfield, which is, as we told you in our last episode, is another mid-major ranked team, right? And so as Chip said in the opening, we want to put some butts in seats. We want to make sure that if you can take the half day, because it's a midday game, we want to have you join us as we celebrate two mid-major ranked teams going at it pretty early in the season. Really excited about this because this is a way for us to celebrate the success of our ladies program. Shout out to Ty Grace and her staff. But this is also when we're going to drop the first part of our interview with Ty Grace as well. So there's a lot going on December 5th, this next Friday, right? I know Indeed. I'm excited about it for sure. Anything else you got there, Chip?
Just wanted to share, the athletics department wanted us to share their promotional flyer just to get everybody in the Burr. And I can't say it enough. Even with the loss to Syracuse, we were ranked 14th before the loss to Syracuse and Purdue. And I can't see it necessarily knocking us out of the top 25. But this is going to be such an important matchup because this is two ranked mid-major teams going at it. Could really set the tone for the rest of the non-conference schedule. Bison Nation, we need you at the Burr. If you're in the DMV area, you see it's going to be youth day. It's going to be a bunch of kids in there, but we need the adults in there as well. So important. Like this is, you're watching history. You don't want to get left behind. So be in the Burr as these two titans go at it from a mid-major standpoint. You don't want to say 15 years from now that you weren't in the house when Howard played Fairfield December 5th in the Burr. So make it happen.
Take that. I love it, man. I love it. So that's what we're excited about with the ladies. They're obviously picking up. I think they play Old Dominion a little later in the weekend, but this is the game we've been circling for a little bit. So continue to focus on when we can match up with other mid-majors, right? I think the only other thing to call out here, because the promotions just dropped for it, is that Ewash, there's an opportunity for us, the men, to go back to Cameron Indoor in a little over a week. We will be playing the Aggies of North Carolina A&T State University. They are the largest HBCU by enrollment and apparently have one of the greatest homecomings in Greensboro. They say on earth, but I know people don't get out of North Carolina like that, so they can't speak about the entire globe. They can speak about Greensboro, though. At me, though. So for those who, it's a Tuesday night game. It's going to be at Cameron. It's got some special significance because we're talking about history. It is one of those games where this Cameron actually hosted the first MEAC tournament back in the early 70s, and the first pairings for that tournament were Howard against North Carolina A&T. So this is a bit of a walk back down memory lane. It's especially significant because of the relationship that we have with Duke because of Kenny Blakeney and Coach Nate being part of the brotherhood. So this is absolutely going to be a fun time to be back in Durham. And so, like I said, Fairfield for the ladies, A&T for the guys. The next 2 weeks are going to be awesome. We'll continue to bring you these kind of updates that we've been bringing you every week, because that's what we do here at Bison Brothers Basketball. So with that, unless there's anything else, I'm listening. Going once, going twice. Because my man Ewash likes to throw an audible on me. I'm just making sure. Any other family members that wearing Howard shirts walking around the house, we want to make sure we shout out everybody. I want to kick it over to my man Chip to close us out like we like to do, man. Chip,
hey,
let's get it going.
Bison Nation, again, continue to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, give us your comments on everything that we asked you about in this episode, and as always, continue to support these championship teams. You could do that in so many ways, given to the MECA Society. You can do that at themecasociety.org. You can also do hubison.com and at Fanstake, and go to the games. And please continue to tell everybody about this podcast, the #1 home for everything Howard Bison basketball. You know, we could hear us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, and you can follow us on Instagram at Bison Brothers Basketball. And so we're going to end this show as we bring the crew back together. In this show, like we end all of our shows. And I can hear you. I can hear you in the background, Bison Nation, as we do it. You know.